Hey everybody, episodes 7 through 9 of Andor season 2 are streaming, and honestly, they're kind of the best of what modern Star Wars has to offer today. And Tony Gilroy has absolutely left me feeling gutted with these episodes. And I know a bunch of reviewers will be doing this play-by-play dissection of the three episodes, following the characters and the plots and all of that. And I think that makes a lot of sense, but I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tie these three episodes, 7 through 9, into the larger universe, specifically the prequel and the original series, in a couple different ways, but I'll really focus on these episodes, and how they kind of tie into Rogue One. So episodes 7 through 9 have these intertwined themes that are connecting the primary storylines in Andor, and they include hope, sacrifice, and order. Now, with hope, when we're looking at the theme, these episodes show us this direct connection to the first three episodes of season 2 and the slowness, the painful slowness of those episodes. But they were kind of the calm before the storm. And that calm was really foundational to revealing what the characters were likely to gain or to lose in later episodes as their hopes begin to kind of slip through their fingers. This builds resonance with the Andor series and Rogue One storylines, which also connects to the core arcs of the original trilogy as well as the prequel trilogies. And in each, there's this optimistic hope for the future, which is then replaced by this more resilient and desperate hope, one that's built upon sacrifice for the future that feels just kind of elusive at best, but yet that hope is there and they are fighting for it. The most poignant and honestly unexpected example of this includes Dedra and Syril. It's a year later, and Syril's affinity for Gorman and for the rebels, it was already clear in the last three episodes. These were people who really liked him. I mean, they liked him. And this is such a rare and precious thing in his life. But they have now spurned him with the arrival of the Empire in force. Then, as the mining ships arrive, the sister of the rebels that he's befriended slaps him when he tries to offer her some hope for the future that he might be able to figure this out. And the brother angrily knocks him up a bit and says, "What is in our ground? What are you here to steal from us?" And it's in that moment that Syril realizes that he has got to confront Dedra, and he does. And that's kind of the thing that leads to him realizing how she has deceived him, how she has used him. And he sees the imminent collapse of this world and the people. And it's a real loss for him. And his loss of hope becomes this existential dread that everything just kind of fades away for him. And everything he knew about himself and the Empire kind of shifts. Then, during the fight with Cassian, which is just this epic culmination for him of everything that has driven him throughout this series. And in this fight, Cassian says, in true confusion, "Who are you?" And in that moment, Syril kind of lowers his gun, and you can see this shifting of his identity within his own head as this desperate horror at the situation forms into something new. And perhaps it's the beginning of a new kind of hope for Syril, as that future he imagined for himself has now completely evaporated. And you know what? That kind of hope had already started to form in him through his friendship with these rebels who really liked him. And it started to kindle inside of him already. And then there's Dedra, who has clearly never had a successful emotional relationship with anyone in her life. And finally, she realizes what this has all cost her. The one relationship, it cost her that one relationship that actually mattered. And there are these other moments in this group of episodes where she starts to see her reflection in Syril's eyes. And that's when she finally starts to get it. And then there's this one moment when she sees the intentionally chosen Imperial guards who are, in Dedra's words, more like children, specifically selected to spark conflict due to their fear and lack of training. You get all that from who they chose for this role as the Imperial guards that they're going to send out. She knows in that moment her own monstrousness and her own culpability for what's happening. Like she knew it before, but now it's really coming home. And she knows she can never recover the person that she was before this moment, before taking this assignment on Gorman. And at the end, when she has to report back to Major Partagaz, we see her hope for her own broken future just dissipate as she trembles and she shakes in front of the kind of video conferencing system as she tries to pull herself together before the call engages. And it's in that moment when she forces order over the chaos of her emotions that are raging throughout her. And it's a perfect reflection of the order that the Empire is forcing on the people of Gorman, as well as the galaxy itself, through the actions taken on Gorman. And that brings me to order. So we're all kind of familiar with the idea of order and control in the Empire, but order takes on this special kind of meaning, this special word in the series. And imperial order and control are really the defining themes of these episodes. They are the soul-crushing actions of the Empire, and they take form in every way, in everyone that's involved in this particular set of episodes, whether they are on Gorman or not. So Gorman, it is the turning point in how the Emperor exerts his control over the systems and the Senate by forcing his allies and adversaries alike to bend to his will or break. Whether the Empire enforces order at the point of a gun or through deceptive strategies that subvert the truth for a more politically useful narrative, Imperial order really comes crashing down on the galaxy through the fall of Gorman, and the Imperial Senate is set spinning. And this brings us to the theme of sacrifice. These are also the episodes where hidden agendas are revealed, sides are taken. And Mon Mothma, she steps up and possibly the most courageous and emotional set of scenes we've seen in Star Wars since, I don't know, maybe since Luke found out his father was Vader. The only difference is that Mon Mothma does it publicly, unarmed, in the Senate chamber for all to see and hear, knowing what it's going to cost her and knowing she may not get out of this alive. She may not even leave the Senate floor alive. So she does that for everyone to see so that everyone would know Gorman's truth and that there are those who are willing to fight. And in that moment, she ignites the rebellion as a real thing within the Senate, putting herself up as the sacrifice for the future. And the logistics for her escape, they are exciting. They are edge of your seat action that is quintessentially Star Wars. And the gravitas that Mon Mothma brings to her evolving leadership role gives you this feeling of pride at having backed her character all along. She is a leader that you can trust, and this plays out in these episodes perfectly. She is exactly who we believed her to be. And anyone looking for an example of a female hero who earned her title as hero, Mon Mothma, she's a fantastic example. And one of the Easter eggs of hope and sacrifice in these episodes that I think is especially well done, and it only takes a couple words to really nail it, is with Bail Organa, who stays behind. And he stays behind telling Mon Mothma they're not ready to leave. He doesn't say to Mon that they are, as we know, Luke and Leia, and they are still too young and too unprepared to take on Vader and the Emperor. He knows they are the galaxy's last hope, and he can't risk them yet. So he sacrifices himself to stay and to give her that platform to make that speech. And that is meaningful storytelling. That is powerful workmanship from a scripting point of view and production point of view. It comes off so well. And because of this, he potentially becomes a prisoner of the Empire as he stays behind to fight with words rather than guns. And then that, of course, brings us to Cassian. And he kind of covers all of these notes in some way, all of these themes. But kind of the final moment of hope with Cassian is kind of tied through this moment of Cassian meeting this force healer that is on the rebel base, who kind of senses him from across the camp. She's drawn to him like a beacon. She sees something in him that she has not felt in a very long time. It's a gorgeous moment in the story that just exemplifies how Star Wars stories should portray Force sensitives who operate within the light side of the Force. And while she is not a Jedi and she doesn't label the feeling of hope in any particular way, she does use the word clarity, which is something that Jedi use, or people that are trained in Force sensitive activities, I guess, or actions or abilities use. For her, Cassian brings clarity to the fight. She sees the path with him. And for Cassian, there's just so much to say about his character, but I'm going to save that for the final set of episodes. Instead, I'm just going to end here on his desperate plea to Bix that the one thing he has going for him is luck. And he has already overplayed his hand and he needs out because he doesn't see a way through this. The way he says it, combined with his earlier meeting with the Force healing and our understanding of how good Cassian is at navigating people and situations, it raises the question of whether or not Cassian is actually a Force sensitive. It's a question that doesn't ever need to be answered because he clearly has a lot of skills that he employs. But is there something else to that? That's something we don't know, and I don't think we actually need to know. But it's also an idea that gives hope to the belief that the Force is finding balance against the order that the Emperor is imposing on the galaxy. And it's in this moment that Cassian may be one of the many vessels being used to restore balance through the rebellion. So there are so many things that we could talk about here. I could put so many things in this review. These 3 episodes, when layered upon the previous 6, really are masterful in how they tell and convey story and dialogue. If you like Andor, I think you will love these episodes. And I think they make the past episodes of the series resonate in a whole new way. Again, this is modern Star Wars at its best, despite any flaws and the small logic jumps that are needed and the story leaps that you have to make from time to time. However, I think that the 3-episode airing format is brilliant because it elevates those little details that would otherwise easily go unseen or be forgotten, so that character decisions actually make sense from episode to episode, that we see that through line and how it exists. If this series was aired 1 episode at a time, it would have died this week with the airing of the third episode. It just would have died. Instead, Disney not only saved this series with the way they chose to air these episodes and perhaps even write these episodes. I'm not sure if that was part of their original plan and how they wrote these episodes, but they proved that there is a way to do episodic streaming that keeps people talking from week to week and keeps them coming back to their platform for more. Now, the real question is, how will they land the series in the upcoming final 3 episodes? And what can their writers and producers learn from the success of this series? So, and I hope they do, because they can't afford another story bungle like what happened with The Acolyte, which was just poor storytelling at its best, even though it might have had a few high points. Okay, that's enough for me. What did you guys think? What did you think? I know I didn't cover everything here. There's just way too much in these episodes to talk about in a single review. So let me know what stood out for you. What worked, what didn't work, and how do you think they'll handle the ending? And do you feel like maybe, just maybe, Disney is finally finding their way back to understanding what people in the audience who are paying viewers on their platform actually want from Star Wars? I kind of think that maybe they're starting to get it. Whether they will be able to follow through with it, it'll be anybody's guess. I guess we'll have to see how it turns out and how some of the future series go. But in the meantime, drop a comment. Thanks so much, everyone. And please do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with a friend. I really appreciate your comment. I love chatting with you guys in the comment. You guys are so much fun. And the fact that you're still here on this review is amazing to me. So thank you. You guys are absolutely the best. Thank you so much. So again, while you're here, why not drop a comment or watch one of these upcoming videos? In the meantime, happy viewing, and I will see you all again. Bye for now.